What's going on, everybody? How are you? Luke April here from Strategy Red Sports. Got a couple of our partners and clients up here today. We're going to be going over a concept, a product, technology, a whole bunch of stuff that's shaping the game right now. We have Alex Trezza from Gamechanger, baseball director, Gear Fisher from Onform, and Steve Goody, the CEO of Pocket Radar. Today's segment is going to be Coaching with Plus, a platform that transforms practice and in-game experience. So we got a good discussion for you, and we'll get right into it, talking about player development and how these companies are shaping the way that players develop, get better, and get after it. So we'll start with a brief intro from Steve Goody over at Pocket Radar, and we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm Steve Goody, CEO and co-founder of Pocket Radar. This is one of our favorite events, and great to be here to talk about this topic. One of the things we've been doing a lot of lately, as you probably all know, is integrating with other great solution partners to really, up the solution quality, to make things simpler, easier, better, and all the good things we all want. So that's my part of this.
Thanks, Steve. Alex Trezza, Senior Manager of Business Development at Gamechanger. Had a long career playing and then coaching at the college level. Been at Gamechanger for about 4 years, and we have a great integration and partnership with Pocket Radar. So happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having me up here as well. My name is Gear Fisher, CEO and co-founder of Onform. We're a video analysis and coaching app used primarily in practice for high frame rate video, used by colleges, high schools, and private teams all over the country, and love working with Pocket Radar.
And I would say in the last 5 years here, we've seen tremendous development out of all three of you guys with regard to different things that you guys are doing, innovation. Open question here, but I'd love to get a little bit of feedback on, what are we seeing in the last 18 months in player development? What are some of the things that we're seeing with on-field performance? What are some of the things we're seeing within the stuff that guys are doing in cages and facilities? You guys are not only on the cutting edge of tech development, you're also in the muck. You're out there every day, you're listening, you're learning. I'd love to hear the anecdotal, hey, what's going on right now? What are we excited about in 2026?
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on, right? You're hearing about AI. There's cameras everywhere. There's a lot of stat integration as well, right? Everything from player development to the athlete profiles. We're doing a bunch of different things as far as integrating with higher resolution cameras, not just the phone on the fence anymore. Again, we do have great integrations with tech companies, right, that just bolster the information that you're getting from Gamechanger. But I think across the industry, you're just seeing fields that have more data and video and AI. I think we're right around the corner from seeing that at every field. So we're just trying to be on the cutting edge and out in front of that and try to give the best tools, especially for Gamechanger, right, that make that experience more valuable and also help with the player development. So I think there's a lot happening now, and I think there's going to be a lot happening in the next 18 months, and it's just getting faster and faster. So we're excited to be on the front lines of that, and we just continue to try to do the things that, again, make the information valuable so the players can get better.
I would say, since we focus principally on player development, we're not really the in-game video. We are the close-up, high frame rate, technique development and improvement side of things. So what we're seeing, what I like to say as an anecdote, we work across a lot of different sports, and what we've seen really over even in the last 12 months, baseball is our fastest growing sport. We've been in golf. We launched about 6 years ago, but I give the anecdote now. If you were to go take a private golf lesson, there's about an 80% chance you're going to get video from that coach. And I would say today it's probably a 10% chance that if you take your 16-year-old kid to go get a private lesson, that coach is going to use video during that lesson. A couple years ago, I would have said it's 2%. So we're seeing video being adopted a bunch more. People are asking for more objective information. It's actually starting to hit what I would say mainstream, and we're seeing that across from private facilities and now the colleges as well.
And just sort of adding on to that from the point of view of where we stand as, nowadays a pretty universal product that everybody's aware of, at least, and many of you own the product and use it. Thank you very much. But there's something happening from that point of view as well that I could definitely sense this year and the near future. There's a synergy that's happening between the partners that have always been in relationship with us and how we're all starting to see together that there's this opportunity to do something better, to simplify it. My favorite word, democratize solutions by actually making them easier to use. And I think it's a critical element of getting use is to make it simple. And the type of integrations we're pursuing now with all of our partners like Gamechanger and Onform and others is really going to produce a wave in the next year or so, I think, of profoundly different looking solutions that should lead to a more natural adoption, more intuitive use cases so people don't give up quickly and they're on their way getting all that great player development or in-game stats. And a lot of it's going to come very rapidly and coalesce quickly. So I'm sensing something sort of pivotal here going on that over the next 12 months, I think is going to be showing up, and you're all going to see it and hopefully use it. So,
and one of the things that I had the pleasure of working on this past summer with all three of you guys really has been the integration of velocity into the Gamechanger experience, the integration of velocity into Onform's experience. What Trezza, like what are you hearing from kind of the front lines, the stakeholders, the people that make and really comprise the baseball community about the velocity integration with Gamechanger?
Yeah, I think to spin off what Steve said, like we're just trying to make it easier for you to ingest the information, right? So with our app and our integration, right, if you have a pocket radar and connect in game, you'll see the velo pop up on the scoreboard in the live stream. Some new things that we did this year, right, is we give you the top velocity in the player stats, so you can track that. The velos in the play-by-play. So not only is it cool, right, because you can see what guys are doing, but I also think it's important for like coaches tracking like arm health and different trends that you may see within a game, right? If he starts out throwing 87 and there's a big drop in the third inning, right? It's like maybe you got to take a look at that. So more than just like player development, stats and analytics, right? That you can send along to like a coach or anything like a college coach for recruiting. There's some player health stuff in there too. So again, making it easier to get that velo in there, understanding what you can use it for, and then kind of like developing a plan off of that. I just think, in the biggest thing, just making it easier to get that information. That's what we've done. And we're going to continue to do that in whatever way we can.
Sweet. What about you, Gear?
Yeah, I was just going to add, in the lesson side of things, going in for a private lesson, traditionally, I think kids go in, coach does what a coach does, and then they go home. And the parents say, so how'd it go? Now there's actually, with like a voiceover and seeing the feedback from a coach, seeing the objective information, velocity on pitches in the video, you actually get a product from every single lesson that the parent sees, and it motivates the kid, it motivates the parents, and it brings more and more information through the whole process for, how am I improving? Am I getting better? Let me go back 2 months ago. So as we see more and more coaches adopting video, bringing in velocity, looking at the actual information during these lessons, I think it's really, like a flywheel, honestly, and truly helping players get better in meaningful ways.
Yeah. And I think to both of what you said, both points, you're going to see a continuity start to show up to where, the whole journey of that athlete from their practice sessions, their in-game performance, their coaching sessions. I think you're going to start to see connectivity in all these platforms, and we'll all collectively be helping that happen. So there ideally will be a more seamless flow to this too. So if you're on a journey and you adopt solutions early on that address all those dimensions, then you're going to end up with a permanent record, if you will, from all stakeholders, parents, people writing the checks, paying the bills, and not to mention just the fun of tracking progress over time, seeing outcomes, seeing the lessons actually produce game performance. There's a reason you're taking the lessons and practicing. And so they have that finally sort of all captured in one sort of continuous platform, I think ultimately is what everybody's going to want to have as a simpler answer.
I have to add on to that too. It's getting to the point where it's not daunting either. Typically coaches go, oh God, that's another thing I have to figure out. Well, like with Pocket Radar, it actually makes coaching hands-free. Like when it's wired up to our system, you guys, Gamechangers, I'm sure the same way, it actually makes the coach's job easier because it's hands-free. They can actually sit there and coach, capture the video, capture velocity, and just sit there and pitch and actually do their coaching with the athletes. So it's getting easier. We focus a ton on ease of use, and so I want to decouple the fact that more technology is coming into coaching from the fact that it's getting harder too. It's actually getting easier.
I think it's our job as technologists as well, collectively, to, and this sounds weird, but to make the technology invisible. And one way that starts is make it hands-free and not get in the way.
Exactly.
So you can coach or you can practice or do or win your game and not worry about, I got to go, touch this equipment and get it running again because it just, it needs to have a button pushed or something. That's just the old school way. And we're going to walk away from that.
One of the things that you guys touched on that I thought was really cool, just from a player perspective, right? Like, even me, I'm 29. Like, it's crazy to say, but none of this stuff was going on when I was playing just 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So it's one of those things where, like, as the data gets more and more abundant and you have players who are coming up now to the point where when they hit that prime age to start thinking about, okay, do I want to play college ball? Do I want to play on that team? Do I go to these events? Do I do these showcases? The amount of data that you're going to have, you could legitimately pinpoint that player's journey. Like, you can look back, and none of us had this obviously, but you'll be able to look back with all the great technological solutions that players have now between the sensors and the tracking and the video and everything. And you'll be able to see that growth materialize, which does full circle support that parent's thinking, right? This is something that I'm investing in. I'm seeing feedback there, which is really cool. And I'm excited from all three of you guys on that front. Anything to add on that?
No, I'll say something on that. I think there is a lot of data. I think it's like sometimes paralysis by analysis, right? Because there's so much. But I think, and not to hit on the things that we're saying already, but like, we're trying to present the information in a digestible way that you can actually utilize it to understand what's going on, and then also put that into your daily routine with your players and give them feedback about what they need to work on. So I think it's not just about more data. It's about the data being really easy to understand and then put into your daily routine with your guys. So any way we can do that, we're trying to, right? And I think, all three of our companies, that's like the top of mind when we build something. So we'll continue to do that. Sometimes it's hard, right? But I also think that you need to use data in the right way because it's out there, and do a good job of trying to implement it with your guys.
Yeah, and your comment that it really wasn't even happening 10 years ago is pretty accurate, because technology isn't going to stop. Are we going to use less computers in the future or more? I'm pretty sure we're going to use more. So you can either say, I'm old school and shy away from it and hide in a hole, or you can embrace it and figure out to what level you want to put it to use. And of course, everything takes common sense, and it can easily be overwhelming, but that's coach's job to figure out how to apply it. And I'm seeing a lot of really cool applications of it.
Yeah, another thing that is sort of a layer on top of all that, even though it's almost becoming cliche to say AI, is you're leaving the stage now. In reality, the data, the foundational pieces we just referred to in that data set, the history, that journey, at some point, and it's already happening. Gamechanger already uses AI for all the recaps. There's not a human being writing those game recaps. It's an AI engine's running that. So you're going to see more and more of that data have new value. I was talking to some of their technology industry folks, and they were saying these data sets are going to have brand new value like never before, because they become the fuel to feed into some engine of the future, even if it's not built yet. So imagine you've gone on a few-year journey in your player development, and you're, in the peak of your journey in high school or coming up to college, and all of a sudden a new tool shows up where you say that, take that record from before, use some sort of more overlay data engine to look at your profile. Maybe it looks at all your videos, all your stats together, and gives you some insight to help you the rest of your journey going forward, to enhance your performance or make you more competitive. I think that's right around the corner, and the data is almost like an investment, knowing that's going to come. So there's an angle on this. It is sort of setting things up for the future to be even simpler and more intuitive, because we all have played with ChatGPT or whatever engine, and we know that it's such a natural interface that I think you're going to see more and more of that natural interfacing to the technology, where you're going to be hiding the tech behind some sort of reasonable interface where you can talk to it and ask it advice. What do you think I should do with my swing plane? I'm missing the game when they throw this pitch inside, and it might have an actually legitimate opinion based on looking at all your game footage and what you've done. That's not fantasy. I know people that are working on that kind of stuff. So it's an investment in the future.
Yeah, and the insight stuff is really interesting because if you're been in our app, and I know it's the off season, but that's something we added late last year, and we'll continue to add and layer on this year. But we have game insights that just pop up after the game. So if you guys use Gamechanger, you're used to the game recap. We also have game insights now about how many first pitch swinging there were in a game, or how many counts you fell behind, what quality at bats you had for a team. So we're starting to build those into the game insights, but also into the individual player insights. So you'll get something that spits out after the game. Will tell you what your players are doing. So that stuff is already happening. It's happening in the background. It's right there for you guys to use. So we're going to continue to do stuff like that, and then attach velos to it and different things like that. So it's pretty cool, and it's happening in real time now.
Gear, what's your opinion on how AI eventually could be used with all that great footage that they're going to be analyzing your current product? What do you think the future holds in terms of that being a valuable set of assets for a player?
Yeah, we're trying to quantify essentially the inputs and the outputs, right? So the inputs are your body and what you're doing and the bat movement or arm. And then what does the ball do? Where does it go, et cetera? And if you can quantify that, you can start to ask questions of it. And the trick in our world and sort of the player development technique improvement is, if I move my arm slightly lower or change my bat path a little bit, do I hit it better? Do I reduce injury? And the only way you're really going to figure that out, other than qualitatively and say, yeah, I feel like it's working, is to have data. And so we've used AI and computer vision models to do full 3D video and 3D metrics of, trunk rotation, arm velocities, lateral movements, translational movements. So we're taking, computer vision AI models, quantifying the body, then looking at the output numbers like velocity, et cetera. And I think eventually you'll be able to tie the two together to actually understand the equation of what leads to improved performance from a body mechanics and technique improvement standpoint.
How do you guys see, and maybe bigger picture question here, just like, the different groups that you all cater to? You guys are all technological innovators. You're coming up with new systems, product dev, all that stuff. Like, do you guys feel that as time goes on and this next generation really comes about into that prime age to start thinking about getting serious with development, do you think there's almost like an expectation that's kind of incumbent on you guys to say, hey, like we are leveraging the latest and greatest tools? Or are you guys seeing that there still is a little bit of pushback, like on the instructor side of things and whatnot? At what point do we see that tip where there is wide scale adoption and comfort with these systems?
I can speak to that. This is my 5th ABCA, and in 2021, there were already some AI, 3D systems coming online. We didn't have it at the time, but I think it was the first time people had started seeing it, and now we get people coming to our booth asking about it. What do you do in AI? What are you doing? So as a business, you can't be too far ahead of the curve, because building a problem that nobody wants to solve is not a great business plan. But you also have to be innovative and lead the field there. So I would say things are catching up rapidly. We now have a lot of people asking about it. They want the support. Okay, I think I see this. What does your computer vision model tell me? And do they align or don't they align? Like, I think we're actually starting to see that for real now. And I would say, the next 5 years is going to accelerate 10 times faster than the previous 5 years.
I've been coming since like 2010, right? So even longer when I was a coach, and there was none of this stuff, not even the tech stuff. It was like a very weird conversation if you had some tech then. But to your point, it's like with the AI now and how advanced the tech is, it's like it helps you as a coach you're seeing something and maybe the player's not like buying in, and the tech also is saying that. I feel like these guys have grown up with it, so they almost trust the tech more than you. So if you can couple your eyeballs on what's going on and the tech, you kind of get them hook, line, and sinker. So we saw that, when I was coaching in the ACC a lot with guys. Some guys were really techie, some guys weren't. The guys at the bottom, you had to marry what you're seeing on the field plus the tech, and then they're like, okay, coach, I'm ready, right? So it is changing. Almost every conversation is about AI and tech and cameras and CV. So it's like a complete 180 from about 15 years ago. So I only think that's going to continue to happen.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, it's hard to even perceive the speed of this stuff because even I'm a technologist, yet, I'm sometimes surprised at the curve shape, and how rapidly solutions are hitting the market and making a real difference out there. And I think we've only, like I said, just seen the beginning of this. It's going to change really rapidly over the next few years, more than ever before.
How do you guys think this is going to impact like the recruiting kind of cycle? I mean, Alex, you're a former college coach. You were recruiting back in the day, probably going out and looking at players and stuff. I mean, has all three of you make products and provide services that ultimately allow that data to be shared more easily, allow content to be shared more easily? I mean, is it trustable? Is it something that people are excited about in the college recruiting circuit? Or is it still one of those things where, a college coach or recruiting coordinator has to see it with their own eyes? Like what's kind of the feedback there?
I think about, for me, like probably around like 2017, when I was coaching, I saw more and more like video and data being kind of folded into the equation when we were recruiting guys. Some guys were ahead of the curve at that point. Some programs were like all in on that stuff, but everyone kind of got there really quickly. What I'll say is this is like, I recruited for over 12 years at the college level. It was never like the data is it. Okay, let's recruit that kid. The data was like, okay, this looks great. Couple it with some video. Let's go out and see that guy. Or we saw the guy already. We know the data. Plus, we had our eyes on it, and maybe we get more data later, which pushes us over the edge to, make the call on a guy. Nowadays, though, it's like it's almost funny if they don't have data or video. Right. The first thing you want to see is like, can I get my eyes on him without flying across the country? Can I put data to it to kind of quantify where he fits in that kind of like hierarchy of the guys you want to recruit? And then ultimately, like, does the data vibe with the type of kid that we want to recruit? So I don't think you'll see any recruiting without data and video now, but it's not the end all. There's a lot of coaches that still need to put their eyes on guys. With the transfer portal, you can kind of make more mistakes, right? And just get rid of guys or move on. But I don't think you'll ever get the eye test out of it. I just think the data will get more and more part of that process as we move forward.
Yeah, as long as we're recruiting humans, they're really complex. And there's a lot of other things that, attitude and motivation and things like that, the data and video and everything else helps tell a story, but there's no chance it's going to tell the whole story.
Yeah, yet another area where you don't think about it very often, but there's probably a whole suite of tools that will be targeted at recruiting, right? So I'm sure that there'll be AI engines coming in from that side. Well, submit your data set, and my AI scouting engine is going to take a pre-analysis of you, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to come see you play or not, or do an interview. I think that's right around the corner as well. It might create a little bit of complacency in some ways if it's too good, and it might be a little backlash after that, right? It's like, okay, wait a minute, I need to get and see this human being, not see what this AI engine is telling me about this kid. So I think there's going to be, like every tech, there's going to be some of that adjustment to the center. It's going to overshoot and then come back, and we've seen that constantly with data and tech. But I think it's going to happen that way.
I think the other thing that's really interesting about the data, tech, and the AI is that, like, talked about injury, but like it can predict or figure out whether like he's a high likelihood of getting injured, right? So like that was always a big thing when we were recruiting guys. Like, okay, we know this guy throws 95, he's got great upside, but like, is he going to break, right? So the data can maybe tell us what happened in the past and predict what's going to happen in the future. So again, that's part of the equation as well.
Yeah, I've had some very interesting private conversations about, sort of using these engines for health monitoring, injury prevention, on a personal level or team level or coaching. And that is probably one of the most intriguing immediate uses that, keep more kids safe, blow out less arms, et cetera, right? I think that's a really very viable solution that's right around the corner.
I'm actually doing a selfless plug, but at the youth stage at 2:00 with MLB and ACC coaches and some really high level doctors, we're doing a presentation on arm health and kind of what's going on in that world right now. There's a lot of data that we're going to present, and we'll go into some solutions and what we're seeing. So it's a perfect time to talk about that. If you guys are free, head on over there. There's way more smart people than me on the panel, so you'll get some good insights on that.
Looking forward to the year ahead here. What are some of maybe the public innovations, the things that are out there and coming that are coming from each of your companies that you guys are most excited about? I mean, I feel like you just listen to the conversation just there, right? Like there's so much good stuff and exciting stuff and honestly accelerated stuff that's happening right now. I know we're all working on stuff and whatnot. Anything you guys want to share about the year ahead or even 2 years from now, right? Like where are your companies going to be?
I know for us that I mentioned it earlier, but it's really, there is a shift of gears in the sense that, we're really going to create a better pipeline of more deeply integrated solution stuff. So I think that you're going to see right around the corner. I mean, a lot of what I do here is, and we do collectively, is build up those agreements and relationships, and there's a lot of that is in the pipeline. And so I think you're going to see a lot of results yielded from that. By next ABCA, I think you're going to see a whole different landscape of more of these solutions integrated with Pocket Radar, and generally more of that out there. But
I think from Gamechanger, you'll continue to see easier ways to capture video for in-game play. I think most of if you go to a ballpark now, you'll see a phone on the fence, a GC streaming kit, some kind of clip on the fence. I think you're going to run into more facilities where you just show up, you scan a QR code, and you're getting this high-level video at those ballparks. That's not only going to help the coaches and players and the families, but also in the recruiting. So, and as we layer on more tech that is integrated with that video, the whole thing is going to seem like magic. So we already have some stuff in some really cool facilities around the country. We're putting more in, and you can keep your phone in your pocket and let the fixed cameras do the work. So, and that's not just from us. That's happening with a lot of camera companies. So I think there'll be very few fields, especially like big complexes, without cameras very, very soon.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do a lot of that for practice facilities, and we focus on the mobile side of things. So we're going to be working with fixed cameras, high frame rate, multi-camera, perfect sync, wireless to iPads. We already do that with iOS devices, but people have been adopting that a lot. And then, like we've touched on, the computer vision side of things, and truly bringing that whole equation and making it objective, right? All the body data, the ball, the bat, visualizations, just to surface that up to coaches for them to make decisions is really our goal. And we've made some meaningful progress on it so far, and we'll continue to make that a reality.
You guys are building your products, right? Like, are you thinking about, okay, how do we, maybe the answer is both, but how do we build to fully democratize this technology that was once something that only major leaguers had access to, really? It wasn't long ago, like we were saying, but are you guys thinking about, how do we build around the player, the athlete, the family? Or are you guys, when you get up and you work on product dev every day or whatever it may be, are you guys thinking about building solutions to the coach, the facility? Like what really is the driving force of innovation within each of your organizations?
I'll start. Yeah. For us, it's the coach. We are laser focused on the coach and tools that make the coach more effective, tools that get out of the coach's way so they can actually coach, and tools that empower their players to get them more information so that they can keep coaching. So the coach is entirely our focus. That's driven obviously by satisfying needs for parents and the player, of course. But our product team lives and breathes coaching workflows. And I often say, I said this to Steve yesterday, generally coaches hate computers. But it's our job to get them to actually like using our stuff. So that is the challenge that we put to our product team every day is make sure our user interface and our functionality is smooth enough and fast enough. Speed is the number one feature. Ease of use is right there too. That it actually is a tool that coaches keep using. Every coach will try and experiment with something once. It's not a business. Unless they use your product for a long time, that's a business. And so making that sustainable, providing real value, that's all we think about in that coaching workflow. And that's where we'll continue to focus.
Yeah, we're not to reiterate, but we're coach focused as well. But I do think that stuff trickles down to the family and the player as well. So, we always talk about pregame, in-game, and then the post-game experience, right? So we want to make the pregame easier for the coach, the in-game easier for the coach because it's kind of happening behind the scenes on an iPad or someone's doing that in the dugout. And then the post-game, give those insights and all that data and stats, right, that can help them prepare for the next day. On top of that, the trickle down is to the family, right, because we're trying to create a really good viewing experience. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa around the country can go watch that and really enjoy it. So not only are we helping the coach, but as almost like a media company, right, we're trying to deliver that content to as many places as possible at a very low cost, so it's a value to everyone. So we'll continue to do that, and we're trying, at the most basic level, trying to make it better for the coaches so they can just go out and do their thing.
Yeah, it's always an interesting question to ask. How do you develop a product that fits the market correctly? And coach is definitely one of our core customers that has built our business, but it's always the other stakeholders as well. So I think something new that we're seeing is that as I partner with different companies like Onform and Gamechanger, it gives us through data actually, a unique bit of insight of a kind we've never had before to do a better job at product feature creation, new product creation, because with that data, we get to hear the collective voice of all you coaches, of athletes, of families, what they want to see in the platforms, what they want to see in the integrations, what they want to see in our part of the technology. And so we've got a better set of insights now. And folks like Alex are out on the field a lot. You just look at any of the videos and he's out there, coaching as well, doing his job. So, those people on the field and having that data come directly through that channel, through folks like Alex and others, it's going to be a much better quality fit when we do new things. They're going to end up being, I think, a much better fit to the need of the person using the technology. I think it's going to enhance everything. So the coming together part of it, that's one of the things I'm really excited about is it's joining forces to solve a common problem together. And that's like it's never has been before at this level, which is exciting to me.
I really like the connectivity that kind of all of your systems provide. Like you guys have spoken a little bit about, connecting parent, player, coach, kind of creating that cohesive ecosystem. And as things start to tumble here and innovation continues, how far out would you say we are from even getting more aggressive with the democratization of your technology and allowing like a player, for example? I know we just talked about coaches and instructors, but at what point do we talked about AI before, get to the point where somebody can really have, that next level expertise at home almost using these systems, and maybe it's you guys, maybe it's someone else out there, but I know that's kind of on everybody's mind right now. And is that something that you're hearing a little apprehension from the coaching community on, or are they excited about it? What's kind of the word on the street there?
I'd say from my side, it's already here. I mean, people can already, and it's been here forever since in YouTube. You've been able to Google or look up YouTube pitching mechanics or hitting for a decade.
How to cheat on the 60-yard dash. I remember doing that. Yeah.
The question is how much do you trust it? Is it actually providing value day in and day out? Again, we're focused on the practice side, not as much the game side. So yeah, we position ourselves as a tool to help the coach, and it's going to continue. AI is going to continue, but I really think as long as we continue coaching human beings, AI is going to hopefully bolster the coach's value proposition. Certainly, just like YouTube does today, I can go watch YouTube instead of hiring a coach for an hour. So that's always going to be there. The reality of it is, I think there's a long road ahead for humans to talk with humans.
Yeah, I think we're an interesting company, right? Because we're doing, again, the pregame, the game, and the postgame. But as this stuff happens, right? We're trying to make it easier. Like, we're talking right now, and you'll see soon, like lineup optimization, like stuff for you guys, where you just open the app and they'll say, like, "Hey, Johnny should be batting fourth. You keep batting him second," right? So
good luck with the parents.
Yeah. We're tracking defensive innings played. So from the rec all the way up to like the high elite travel space, right? There's different things that those coaches want and want to see. So we're just trying to build all those things and really give them one place where you can go to get as much information as possible. The last thing I'll say on that is, and we were on a panel yesterday together, Steve, it's like, and we're talking about this today, coaches don't want to go to 15 different places to get data. So like, there's been a really good, there's no more butting of heads with the tech companies. We're all talking with each other as like, how can we make this easier for people to get, right? Whether it's a dashboard, whether there's more integrations and things like that. So I think there's been this really good collaboration mindset with everybody. Whereas at the beginning, everyone was trying to just like push their stuff and like stay segmented. So I'm really hopeful as we move forward, right? We're just going to all make it easier to be able to get information, share data, right? And then ultimately give those tools to the coaches.
I think an interesting dimension on top of that is that, to your points collectively, the past was siloing up of solutions. Back a few years back, I remember every other company I talked to, sort of was repeated the same story. Well, we're going to get all the athletes in our database. We're going to own the magic golden data set and have insights, and we're going to do it all ourselves. And then you walk to the next person, they say the same thing. You intuitively understand immediately there's a problem here. And it's a problem more for the end user than it is for the companies. It's going to create a problem for the companies as well. But more importantly, that's confusion out there for coaches and other stakeholders. So I think the real simplification is the shattering of the silos. And so I think there's multiple layers of benefit once that happens. It not only eliminates redundant investment, which is a really cool thing from a business point of view, is like, rather than everybody reinventing the wheel, let's put all that fuel and all that money into one wheel that we can together, roll the car forward with. And I think that, that also creates, as a secondary effect, when you're online looking for solutions, hopefully what it means ultimately is it becomes simpler, ultimately not more complex. So I think we have a chance of seeing a reversal of a trend. Normally with tech, you see this explosion and it gets worse and worse and worse and more confusing. But there's going to be a consolidation of sorts, I believe, where as these solutions come together, it's going to be like a gravity well where people are going, finally a simple answer. I could just sign up for this, that, and I'm done. And then I have the whole journey covered. I have coaching, recruiting, game experience, whatever you need, player development. And that should sort of be a revolution in reverse. It's like, yes, tech revolution, but now it's a simplification revolution. And I think that's something that's sort of lurking behind the scenes that's not too far away. And I think people are hungry and waiting for, where's the one place I can just go get the thing? And I pay once. I have a tool suite in front of me for everything I do, from game to practice to backyard development to off-season, whatever, recruitment, everything.
One more thing from our side, right? Like, I think people know how big Gamechanger is as just a company, but sometimes it gets overlooked. Like last year, the users scored 8 million games. So on any normal like summer weekend, we're doing almost 500,000 games on a weekend. It's a crazy number to wrap your brain around. So from our point of view, all the tech companies, especially ones on the stage and other ones out there, right? They're doing all this great training, data, in the cage, off the field type of stuff. So if we can ever, marry those things together, it helps, right? Because we have the game data, A lot of you guys have the training data. So whether someone wants to use Onform or Pocket Radar or TrackMan, right? Once you verify that data with the game data, right, it becomes a really powerful story for player development and also recruiting. So from our point of view, like we would love to get everything, to work a little bit more in lockstep. So that's what we're thinking as we build stuff for the world.
Gear, you have anything?
Yes.
I know we got to wrap up here. Yes.
We're getting kicked off.
No, it's all good. I know our time's up.
Yeah,
I
we're out of
appreciate the
time.
opportunity to be up here.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.